Welcome to this week's edition of Smart Counsel for Lunch. I'm Leah Kofis, and I'm one of the attorneys here at the law firm of Samuel, Seibert, and Baylor in Dedham, Massachusetts, where we focus our practice in the areas of estate planning, probate, elder law, and estate and trust administration. So I wanted to share a story with you all. Recently, I had a client in the office, and we were talking about his options about whether to do a will or a trust or how to spruce up his estate plan from many years ago. And he said, "You know what I always say, where there's a will, there's a relative." And I laughed a little bit, but then realized he's absolutely right. There's nothing that brings out and unearths these distant heirs and estranged siblings and descendants and everything quite like probate does. Probate is a very public process. And when you have a will, all of your assets, in order to go through this will, they have to go through probate first. Probate is a court process where essentially the court determines your beneficiaries and your relatives, make sure that your will is valid and all of those things. But it's a very public process. Everything's public record. So in order to go through probate, your will has to be filed with the probate court. You have to send notice to all of your closest living relatives. You have to file notice in a newspaper. So everybody is very aware, one, that you died, but two, that something is going through this court process and they might be entitled to a little something. Even if these people aren't actually entitled to anything, they might just file with the probate court in the hopes that they can get something out of it. And this, of course, this doesn't happen for every person with a will, certainly, right? But it definitely opens it up to some fortune seekers. So what can you do about all of this? There's a common misconception that your will does avoid probate. If you have a will or if you don't have a will, in either case, you have to go through probate. The only thing that will avoid probate, other than, naming adult competent beneficiaries on your assets, is having a trust. And so a trust is not public record. A trust does not have to go through probate. It's very private and it keeps everything out of the court process. So when you think of, where there's a will, there's a relative, the same does not actually apply to trusts. So think about that. It's always a good idea to revisit your estate plan every now and then. If you do have one from many years ago, your needs aren't quite the same as they were back then. So it's a good idea to revisit this, spruce it up if you want to spruce it up or if you feel like you need to. But otherwise, just keep that in mind. Where there's a will, there's a relative. All right. So as always, if you want to read more about this in this week's article, feel free to click the link. And you can read a little bit more about the article. If you want to read any more about elder law, estates, probate, estate planning, any of those things, feel free to visit our website. We put out articles every week, and we have a really good resource for you guys out there for those as well. All right. So as always, take care.